I don't know how many of you... There's some background to this video before we get into it. This is from Neven. Good VTuber. Israeli VTuber. Former IDF soldier, I believe. Really good content creator, and it looks like she's starting to get into making recorded content either on stream or recording it offline. Well, she's been following the saga with what happened with the Kitsura Nines. Nines was part of this list here of super-based VTubers, like what you see here, and can confirm, fantastic lot here. I mean, my two Oshis, Leaflet and Kirsha, made the list. You've also got really good VTubers and content creators there, like Banana Juju, Brev Says Desu, Neven, Saturn Senshi, Darling Strob, aka Mrs. Brev Says Desu, Smugalana, Kitsura Nines, obviously. Don't know who Sawa-san is, but I'm sure she's good. Azahara posts a lot on Twitter. Mama Oko, really good. We've had her on stream. It was me, Boko, Action, Lady Lark, Megalum, and Elijah Knightley covering election night. I'm still proud of that. I think we did a damn good job. So many of them came back to cover the inauguration. I think that was truly our finest hour, all of us. And showing that VTubers and content creators like us can do a damn better job than the so-called mainstream media of covering major world events. Where's Ben 10 on this lot? Let's see, we also got Powder, Usagi Calamari, Kazahana. I'm familiar with Rock Solid and Permaband. They're really good. Yeah, most of these people I'm already familiar with and I follow fairly close. But a few members, in particular Saturn and Nines, were members of a group called the Vtards. And those of you who are subscribers to the Lord Rexworth podcast, you may have seen the latest episode in which I interviewed a former member and probably the most controversial of them all, and that was Nachisumiku. I say that they used to be the most controversial member, seemed to only get topped by Akemi, who, with this tweet, decided to throw an epic fuck ton of shade on all of them, to say that over half of them are fake and or grifters. So this clearly shows that she's not evil and crazy. Well, if you've been following the saga of what's been happening to Kitsura Nines, Akemi not evil and crazy? That's a fucking lie. Can't tell if aiming to be the most controversial if it just happens. With Akemi, I think it just sort of comes naturally. Anyways, let's pause the music here and give a watch here to Neven's content regarding Akemi Kurai.
Hi.
Hello.
It's Neven here. Akemi is not evil and crazy. Bold statement. So let's actually look at what she's done, and you can decide it for yourself. To understand how we got here, we need to go back to where it started, before I explain why she's genuinely not a good person. So there used to be a VTuber group called the Vtards. It doesn't exist.
I have to back that up here for a moment.
Vtards.
Yeah, these were the original members of the Vtards. Akemi Kurai, Nachisumiku, Kitsura Nines, Saturn Senshi, and Shirawan. I believe a few of them follow me. I know Miku follows me. Shiro follows me. I follow Saturn and Nines. I've got Akemi, each time she keeps popping up again, doing a ban evasion on Twitter, I just block because she's just that toxic and I have no patience for her bullshit. So yeah. Each time she pops up again, I just block her. And I would encourage other people to do the same. Because the only thing that really comes out of her accounts is just proverbial diarrhea. It's the only way I can think of to describe it. Anyway.
It doesn't exist anymore, and Akemi is one of the reasons it fell apart. One day, Akemi made a tweet asking who wanted to join the group, and 4 people ended up joining her. Shiro, Nachisumiku, Nines, and Saturn. After some time, Shiro and Miku didn't get along. Miku had a hobby, and still has it, of liking Nazi-related things, and at the same time, there was also an argument in the group between him and Shiro about Lolicon. And by the way, during...
Yeah, other bit of information, Natsumiku portraying themselves as a female, but it was later revealed when all of them got doxxed that Miku is actually a chap. And we covered this on the podcast. He admits that it was a mistake to do that and took ownership of it. And good on him for that. But now, more accurately, labels himself as a Babaniku VTuber. In other words, female model, male voice. For a while, was still using the voice changer. And in our interview, had the voice changer working. But more recently, with, I think it was an interview with the Don of Everything. Great content creator over on Rumble. Do go give them a follow. The Don of Everything. There was a thing happening where the Don actually managed to get most of the former VTards together, and it was thought that they would never really get back together after they broke up as a group, but he managed to pull it off, and even managed to get Miku and Shiro on speaking terms with each other again, which I think is all to the good. It's very encouraging to see them all getting along again, and even getting together for collabs on stream, with many of the former VTards now signing on with Lucky EN, which both of my senpais, Razorwind and Natsushiroi, are now members of. Of course, we congratulate them on that. That's really good. Rebuilding burnt bridges is difficult, if not impossible, at times. Credit to the Don of Everything for pulling that off. That's quite the undertaking. But even in streams now, Natsumiku no longer uses the voice changer. I remember Momooko being in chat for some of these collabs and interviews, and stating quite rightly to Miku, you don't need it. You don't need it. And I reiterated it. It's like, you know what? Oko's right. They don't need it. Doing just fine without it. Might as well just be real. So anyways, let's keep going.
In this period, everyone thought Miku was a man. But the drama didn't stop there. It only got worse. Around that time, someone named Buy Bitcoin started sending private messages to Shiro. Later, he posted the screenshots, but they were edited, and he literally changed Shiro's words in the conversation. This created a major conflict within the entire group, and in general, whenever new information about Shiro appeared, Akemi was always the first one to celebrate it and spread it everywhere. And if you think that's bad, just wait. Before she ever joined the VTards, Shiro had a miscarriage.
That's not very responsible. The first instinct when some stranger comes up with screenshots, especially ones that appear edited, should not be to spread them far and wide, but to try and vet the information that you're seeing to make sure it's true. And part of that means going to the actual source to say, "Hey, this true? I think an explanation's in order."
Just wait. Before she ever joined the VTards, Shiro had a miscarriage, and Akemi made fun of it, saying she killed her own baby.
That is genuinely fucked up. A miscarriage is, you're talking about a loss of life. That is not something that you make fun of. It's devastating for both mother and father. So, that already gives us insight into Akemi's character. That we're not dealing with a very good person here.
Shiro eventually decided to leave the group first. Some of Akemi's fans also joined in, mocking the woman who miscarried and even sent her vegan commissions with insults.
Good God.
Okay, messages accusing her of murdering her child. And that's when he started to notice a pattern with Akemi. Whenever she's jealous, insecure, or feels overshadowed, she immediately spirals into attacking people's most personal, vulnerable moments. And it doesn't stop at miscarriage. One of the clearest examples of this was in a voice call when someone opened up about a friend, a trans, who took her own life. And Akemi's reactions wasn't shock or sympathy or even silence. She laughed. She laughed at the suicide of someone.
Let's see. Those surprise jump scares are the worst, When I spoke out the terrible thing that she hung herself, you laughed in an instant. You don't know the story and you don't know who she was, but I knew who she was. Your reaction angered me to the point that I was dead silent. It was hateful, disgraceful, satanic. I thought it would be necessary of me to reach out to you after thinking for a bit. Even after when I joined the VC again a few hours later after leaving, I couldn't shake the anger away when I tried. I still would like to be friends with you. I just ask that you read the room when something deep is being told. Don't laugh, otherwise keep it to yourself. Hope you understand and think on this and accept you made a mistake.
And she never knew, because empathy isn't something she has. You don't need to know a person to understand that suicide.
And her response is to double down, because, of course, I find it hard to believe any of them are innocent. None of this takes away from the fact that someone ended their life, and your first response is to laugh at that. Whatever you think of people who are transgender, nobody deserves to go out like that. That's pretty fucking sick.
Isn't a joke. The fact that her instinct was to laugh tells you exactly what kind of person she is. Which brings us to this. The same person who mocked a miscarriage is also out here obsessing over someone else's private sex tape like it's her business. And honestly...
Oh, Joe II, thank you for sending over 50 kicks. Thank you so much. I wasn't sure that was set up properly, but apparently it is. You still goon to that sex tape that you and your ex made. Does your boyfriend sit in the cooked chair while you do it? Also, do you still fantasize about being gangbanged by multiple dudes? Your boyfriend's a cook, and you're a... Oh, God.
The obsession is kind of weird. You're shaming someone for making a private video, something couples do all the time, while acting like it's a scandal, which is funny because, oh wait, didn't you say you haven't had much sex and that honestly the sex I've had has been mid or bad? So why exactly are you so invested in other people's sex lives when your own isn't exactly thriving? Maybe that's why you're so proud. Jealousy.
Yeah, it's jealousy. It is jealousy and bitterness. And as she'll probably get to this later in the video, that particular video that she's referring to comes up again, and some very bad people try to make the rounds with that. Keep up the good work. Well, thank you, Joe. Thank you so much.
Makes people do weird things. And then Akimi posted Shiro's picture on her Discord because of course she did. She loves doxing people, so what?
Haven't seen... let me put it this way. Akemi is calling Shiro a tubby wubby. Akemi is fatter. Just from what has made the rounds. Akemi has got no room to talk on this. Because that's something normal people do for some reason. Yeah, this is...
Why stop now, right? She got mad that Shiro posted her own birthday wish list, so Akimi responded by posting Shiro's face right next to her Twitter post. Oh. I'm sorry, I also have a throne wish list. I guess only Akimi's allowed to receive gifts. My mistake.
Yes, a throne list from Akimi that people started mocking quite mercilessly and justifiably so, because at one point she decided she was going to be this wholesome chungus Christian VTuber and streamer, and yet didn't really bother to update her throne page because she had sex toys next to Bibles. Not sure how all that works, but, there it is.
And it doesn't stop there, because doxing Shiro wasn't some one-time mistake. It's a pattern. She does this to anyone she gets annoyed at. And here's another example. She didn't just dox this person. She openly
one of these things is not like the other, yeah.
Mocked her appearance afterward. She leaked someone's identity and then laughs at how they look. That isn't confidence, that's pure insecurity dressed up in kawaii filters. After that, Nine's old porn name got leaked and she left the group. And the saddest part, her story didn't end there. It actually gets worse. This wasn't the first time she's being doxed.
This went on for almost a week, maybe even longer, where, Nine's old porn name and at least one of her videos started making the rounds, and there's a whole story behind that. I'm sure that Neven will get to that.
Herself pulled up her porn and forced people to watch it in VC, and this is where Akimi crossed.
Yeah, this is where it got really just sick and disgusting. I mean, like, way over the top sick and disgusting, beyond the pale. Akimi gets into a VC with her Simpson followers and starts streaming Nine's old pornographic videos that she did, and is practically forcing people to watch it, threatening to ban people if they leave the VC.
It's a line you can come back from. Like, what kind of person actually enjoys someone else suffering? Before I explain just how cruel this...
I mean, this is someone who is trying to rebrand herself as a Christian VTuber, and she is watching old pornographic exploits of a former genmate in a VC and forcing other people to watch it with her. It's around this time that just, I think a lot of people started waking up to the fact that she is not Akemi is not a well person. We're not dealing with someone who is mentally sound.
was. I want you to hear Nine's story in her own words. Yes, there was a point in my life where I did porn. I was in an abusive relationship. He isolated me. She did porn because she was abused, manipulated, and had no real choice. It was survival under coercion, not voluntary. I was barely 70 pounds, bedridden. He love bombed me, used my vulnerability. He was physically weak, mentally vulnerable.
Yeah, this was a long tweet from Nines about all of this. When it started making the rounds, it was certain troublesome individuals within, I believe, Akemi's server that started posting in response to some of Nines' tweets, the usual "this you bro," and then posting the link to an old pornographic video that she had done. A real class act. But Aaron, welcome in. Yeah, it's sick and disgusting behavior on the part of Akemi. A lot of people were just absolutely horrified by this, myself included. I don't know what would possess someone to think that it's a good idea to share this sort of thing with anyone, but particularly a Discord community that you're building. Just why? What possible benefit would it be to you? It can only serve to hurt you and also hurt Nines. But maybe that's the point. Maybe she just wanted to try and hurt Nines in some sick, twisted way, though she only ended up hurting herself. Because I don't know if Neven gets to this in the video, but the TLDR, Nines is still standing. These ungodly people, they took the best shot, and it wasn't enough. And if anything, it's only made Nines stronger, the whole ordeal. And that really is something that Nines should be proud of, for standing strong. She basically took the Tyrion Lannister approach. There's a great line from an early episode of Game of Thrones. I'm not a fan of Game of Thrones, but I really like this one particular quote from Tyrion Lannister. He said, "Never forget what you are. The rest of the world will not. Wear it like armor, and it can never be used to hurt you." And in a way, that's exactly what Nines has done throughout this whole saga. She has just taken her past, and she wears it like armor. And even though it's an unbelievably stressful time for her, understandable, it can't really be used to hurt her, because to hear her tell the story of her life, she's been through a lot worse. Some people are so terminally online, they think it's also IRL. I think that's what we're dealing with Akemi, is that she just got to be so terminally online that she absolutely went full retard. Can't wrap my head around it myself. This sort of behavior is just so foreign to me. This is not something you do to a person. You just don't do this sort of thing. And especially if you're wanting to be a content creator, you definitely don't do that sort of thing. Because it's going to get noticed, and it did get noticed by a lot of other people, including bigger name talents like Kitsunero, who put out the warning of Akemi's a bad person, and you need to avoid her. And she's right.
And taken advantage of by someone who groomed her. It took years to get out. I rebuilt myself. I'm stronger now. She escaped the abuse and rebuilt her life. Her past does not define who she is today. This is why I have boundaries around the NSFW. I don't engage in that dynamic again. Her strict boundaries are a trauma response. She avoids NSFW because she was exploited in the past. I deleted all accounts. Everything is now re-uploaded. Not doxing technically, but sure as hell not Christian. She removed all content years ago.
This is not something that a Christian VTuber does. You can't brand yourself a Christian VTuber and then all of a sudden stream someone else's pornographic material in a VC in some twisted act of vengeance. Glad people are supporting Nines through this. I can only imagine how stressful it is. I can only imagine as well But she's surrounded by a lot of good people now, and they've all got her back, and it's really good to see.
Anything circulating now is old re-upload material. Akemi digging it up is unethical and malicious, especially while claiming Christian values. Watching these videos and VC circulating them, trying to post them on my Twitter is unacceptable. Akemi actively shared revenge porn, watched it with her audience together, and attempted to weaponize it publicly. She knows my
It's, in some places, that's criminal. And word is that Akemi has actually got the attention of some sort of cybercrimes division of police in Australia, much to her misfortune. Time will tell if anything comes from that. Can never understand the mentality behind doing some stuff like that. Nor can I, but then again, we are good, decent people, and we were reared to just not engage in that sort of behavior.
history, she knows the abuse, yet she chooses to use it as a weapon. Akemi knowingly weaponizing someone's trauma despite knowing the full context. This makes it intentional cruelty. It was survival, not a choice. I'm not ashamed of who I am now. Nines rejected Akemi's attempt to use her past against her. She is proud of the person she became. Using my trauma against me crosses a line no decent human approaches. Akemi's actions aren't drama. They cross basic moral boundaries. This behavior exposes Akemi, not Nines.
There's also possible legal boundaries that may have been crossed as well. The long and the short of it is that Akemi she's fucked. I mean, this is the sort of thing that it can get you in trouble with the law, depending on the jurisdiction. So, a completely nuked from orbit career as a content creator is the least of her troubles right now.
Worse on you, Akemi, than it ever will on me. Revenge porn harms the abuser reputation more than the victim. It shows Akemi is hateful and malicious. So, what do you even call someone who gets satisfaction from humiliating another person in front of an audience? There's a word for that, a sadist. And just when you
A sadist, yes. I also prefer to use the term ungodly.
think it can get worse, it does! So Akemi had minors in her server, a server where every single channel was 18 or locked. Here's the proof. One person literally said they were 12, and Akemi personally allowed it, proudly. You can call yourself anti-porn, run NSFW channels, and force people to watch someone's revenge porn, and then allow children into an adults-only server. That's not just hypocrisy, that's dangerous. After that, Miku left the group because—
Yeah, that's... There's a reason that I keep everything 18 plus with my streams, and especially with my Discord server. I don't want to expose myself to that sort of liability, because there are things that get talked about, and it's not always very kid-friendly. Not that there's a bunch of pornographic material or anything like that. It's just that, especially when you talk news and politics the way I do, it's a lot of grown-up shit. It's a lot of things that younger people don't really understand, and that, frankly, a lot of them don't really need to trouble themselves with. But more than anything, it's a legal liability issue for me. I just don't want that type of Damocles sword hanging over my head. So I keep it simple. If you're under the age of 18, get the fuck out. You're not welcome here. Come back when you're 18. Adults will speak like adults and younger ones don't, yeah. Plus, social media isn't really good for kids. Parents need to do their damn jobs, yeah. Children do not need to be on social media. In fact, children don't need to be anywhere near the internet. Full stop. I think the internet is a place for grown-ups. Children have no business accessing the internet. When it was in its infancy, when I was a much younger lad, that was a different story. It was a much different place. Now, there's some pretty twisted shit out there, and it is quite easy to run into it, no matter what age you are. I mean, just look at what we've learnt about Roblox, just how easy it was to run into people who were posting adult content, or even engaging in grooming sort of behavior, and they were doing this in front of children on these servers. It's a big problem. And I would say if you've got children, don't let them anywhere near Roblox, because they get into those servers, someone is going to try and groom them. And the people who run Roblox, they're not going to do a bloody thing about it. Never trusted it to begin with, and after learning everything that was about what was going on with it, glad I never touched it. Yeah, same here. Same here. I don't really mess with any of that. Roblox, even Minecraft to an extent. I know there's plenty of streamers who have their own private servers, and you know that's different. I'm not going to. I've got no interest in Minecraft because to me, I see it as not really much different from Roblox. A lot of the same problems, and too much of a risk that you're going to be running into griefers or children, and I don't want that. I don't want those complications. I don't want to have to deal with that.
As he got doxxed, people found out he was using a voice changer. He was actually a man. And then another pattern with Akemi becomes obvious. She always has something to say about people's identities, their gender, who they like, who they're allowed to simp for. So simping for a guy is gay, but simping for a woman is fine. Imagine being this insecure that you polish who your viewers can support.
Wait, what was she saying?
Imagine being this insecure that you polish who...
Male VTubers are weird and not really unpleasant overall. That sounds like projection. Female VTubers have grifted off me and stabbed me in the back. That sounds like projection. Both are shitty. Male VTubers are just more obvious about it, while women are more secretive. That sounds like projection. Yes, and it also sounds like high school. I'm told that Akemi actually tried creating pornography of herself. Didn't go so well. Got absolutely raked over the coals for just being fat and unattractive. And apparently when the big docs happened to the VTards, Akemi's pornography started making the rounds. And her first reaction was she feared being called fat again. Not that that sort of material was making the rounds. She just didn't want to get called fat. This is what I'm going off of what I've heard from former VTard members speaking in other interviews. Just little items and nuggets that really stick out to me regarding the whole saga.
Your viewers can support. He apologized to you privately. So
these are DMs that got leaked between Akemi and Miku. Yeah, I see it and it's true. I'm an actor, so it is you. Yes, it is. Sorry for not telling you all the truth. Thought I could let the character stand as his own thing. The only thing I'm really upset about is when I asked if you were a woman, you said, yeah. Had to. Well, you didn't have to, but that's all in the past now. And again, Miku's taken ownership of all this. And Akemi even offering to keep up appearances.
situation resolved and you still went back to complain, people liked him. That's not confidence, that's insecurity on steroids. The group fell apart until only Saturn and Akemi were left. They streamed talk about forming a new group, the Mafia.
New group with Saturn on hold? We have it in the works. I'm not gonna say much about it because it's a secret.
And then both left. And then came the
I'm not gonna say much about it because it's a secret.
And then both left. And
oh, okay. So this is the okay. This is not an ultimatum or you must choose situation like the previous one, but please carefully consider, keep in mind what I'm about to say. Oh, that totally turned into a you must choose situation. No longer friends with or associate with Saturn Senshi and Kitsura 9s. Can't recommend the content of them as VTubers and people. They think that the following members are crazy and evil. Ratrick Bateman, Rice, and Nia. As it would later turn out, they are crazy and evil. And I would recommend everybody else who is a content creator out there, make sure that these people are blocked, especially on your socials. And actually, I know you're still here in chat, but any other mods that are mods here for my chats and also mods in my server, please take note of these names, Ratrick Bateman, Rice, and Nia. If you see anyone resembling someone like that or an alt account variant thereof, you've got my authorization to immediately ban them because I don't want them anywhere near Castle Rexworth. Roger, roger. Thank you, Action. These are some bad hombres, as the POTUS says. The reasons given were because these members believe in the validity of crime statistics and statistics in general, and the ability to have pattern recognition. That makes zero sense to me. They think that Nier gained more influence on my server because he draws art for me. I can believe that. Saturn demanded in his DMs he draw for her as well. I find that difficult to believe, despite kicking him from a server previously because she thought he was a rat for KF. I have no idea who KF is. They think I'm going down a dark path, say they tried to be the voice of reason for me. Sound familiar despite never speaking to me or hanging out with me. If there's a long history of people trying to be the voice of reason for you, maybe you're going down the wrong path. I mean, there are people who will say they're claiming to be a voice of reason and using that for gaslighting, and then there's people genuinely concerned for you. But if it turns out to be a repeated pattern, again, circling back to the whole ability to have pattern recognition, there's a pattern emerging. Oh yeah, and there was the whole thing where Akemi tried to get in good with Elfin Psyop. I think Elvin is a druggie and a bad influence on me, despite Saturn being very insistent and intent on trying to get a collab with Elfin. I mean, there's a difference between being friends with people and collabing with them. I've collabed with people that I am not friends with, but am professional acquaintances with. And then there are people that I will gladly collab with because I am friends with them. I have no idea if Elfin Psyop is a drug addict. I can tell you that based off of what I've seen on social media, I don't know if her influence is entirely positive. I don't know if I would collab with Elfin Psyop personally. You know, it's if she reaches out to me, I'm not going to reach out to her for a collab, but if she reaches out to me first for a collab, we can talk about it. Kiwi Farms. Oh, KF, Kiwi Farms. Okay. Thank you for clarifying that, Joe. Yes. I've also been informed they are, let's see, oh, I skipped over one. They got upset at me because I didn't want them to promote themselves in my server. Well, when you've got people who are, I guess you could call them genmates, or they're members of the same organization that you're in, it wouldn't, I mean, you don't have to let other people promote themselves, but professional courtesy would dictate that you make an exception for people that you're in an organization with. Like in the previous organizations that I was with, always there was open invitation by any of the other members to self-promo in the appropriate sections to let them know when they're going online, if they've got a new project or something like that. I had no issue with that. I'm one who believes that a rising tide lifts all boats. So I'm not going to be one of those people that says it's all about me and you're not allowed to self-promo. I know how the game works. And sometimes it's a little bit of, okay, you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. So I have a self-promo section. It said in one chat, billions much Oshi Akemi, and Saturn says no, me. I don't know what that means. It was the time Saturn was insisting and begging that someone in the VC donate money to her and her alone. I feel like this has had context intentionally left out. Also been informed they're straight up lying about me from the verified sources. Told me all of these things. Citation needed. During my members only stream, they think I was being disingenuous when I said I want to make everyone happy. They don't think I'm a good person, I suppose. Well, you kind of proved everyone right in that regard, Akemi. Maybe leaving some things out. Just in a very long, serious voice chat with a verified source. Talking about these things. Cannot recommend their content at all. No future collabs or positive mentions, promotions from me about them. Would appreciate if my community does not associate me with them any longer.
Then came the moment everything blew up. Saturn joining Lucky Ian. So basically, Lucky Ian is a VTuber agency where there's a lot of nice people here.
You scrolled a bit too quickly, dear.
Basically, Lucky Ian is a
Let's see who all
VTuber
is in there.
agency where there's a lot.
Yeah. I think on the last row is Shiroy, but we got Razorwind in here. Got Saturn, Shiro, Royan, Miko, Mizu Tamori, Mamaoko, Junie Smooth. Oh, there's Shiroy, okay. Eva, Lumi. A few of these people I'm not too familiar with. Kera, Dama. I don't think this is the same Akihiro that I am acquainted with. At least I hope it's not. And Atari Celestium, I know her. Kretosis. A few of these people I'm not familiar with, but a lot of these people I am. This is a lot of very talented people, and many of them definitely members of the base department. Whole thing reads like a government dossier, yeah.
A lot of nice people here, no lie. And Raging Bull, who runs Lucky Yen, is Jewish, and Akemi really doesn't like Jewish people.
Yeah. Akemi really went full retard on anti-Semitism. I mean, granted, I've got my criticisms of Israel and some of their lobbying efforts, but damn, Akemi just went full twat waffle retard on the whole thing.
So I guess that means we could never be friends, right?
Oh
Since
no!
I'm Jewish?
Anyway.
That's fine by me. I'm not exactly interested in being friends with a sadistic doxer who has full-blown main character syndrome anyway. And then it got even weirder. She added a whole new server rule because of me.
Rule states we don't allow any Jews or Jew sympathizers here. Won't even talk to Jewish people without being a bitch about it. Instead of Raging Bull, you can't trust him, he's a Jew. Spurred on by Neven. Okay. Someone shared a tweet of yours in her server, which made her make that new rule. Legit just shared a tweet you made. Oh, hell no. Yes, I'm not joking, and she bans all Jewish people or Jewish sympathizers. Hey, bruh. Like I said, I've got my criticisms of certain ways the Israelis handle things. I've got a video coming up reacting to a video that Leaflet actually put out, where Benjamin Netanyahu and a lot of influencers going apeshit over the use of the juice box emoji on the recently acquired TikTok, and talking about how it's not the way to handle it. Don't give it the Streisand effect. And the whole point of that video is just, this is not the way you handle things. Let these people spin their wheels. Let them whip themselves up into a frenzy if you like, but they will tire themselves out and ultimately prove ineffective. But to try and clamp down on it or exert some sort of control on it, that's just being neurotic about it, and it's not going to do you any favors. So you're best just letting the idiots out there, just let them tire themselves out. So I hope that point is communicated effectively, because, yeah, this is going full retard. And as we all know, never go full retard.
Because someone shared one of my tweets. Imagine being so fragile that a single tweet rewrites your entire server. And banning Jewish people or anyone sympathizing with Jews, that's not moderation. That's bigotry. If my existence alone is enough.
And also I think it's a violation of Discord TOS, which, as we found out later, Akemi got her Discord account suspended and damn near got her server nuked off Discord because she and her simps just could not help themselves. It's the internet. I don't think they can get tired. You'd be surprised. But the majority of these people who spread those sorts of things, you have to ask, how effective is that? How effective is it? I mean, not very. If there is indeed still heavy Jewish influence in the world, you're spreading piddly little memes and talking about every single time. What does it accomplish, if anything? There's disseminating information via memes and slogans, and then there is actually exerting institutional governmental power and enacting policy. It's two different things, and one side has their memes, the other side has institutional power and the ability to enact government policy.
To make her overhaul her server guidelines, that says everything about her. So yeah, he doesn't like Lucky Ian because Raging Bull is Jewish, and because also she hates Mama Oko, a drama VTuber, and honestly a very cool person.
Yeah, if you've got a dislike, look, you can have your criticisms of Oko's takes. I don't agree with Oko 100% of the time. Two human beings are never going to agree with each other 100% of the time. But fundamentally, I think they are a good and decent person. Otherwise, I would not have allowed them to collab with me on a live event. Fairly certain if you've got that strong of dislike of Oko, might be something wrong with your character instead. Because from what I'm seeing, Oko is not some sort of frothy at the mouth anti-Semite. Oko does not engage in the sharing of revenge porn. They're just someone who likes to talk about drama on the internet and play video games and hang out with their friends. I've seen Okko's streams before. Very entertaining. I do like the choice of video games, especially that one that they had. I'm trying to remember the name of it, where it's like Sim City but a space station. You're building a space station. Oh, it looked like a rather fun game that they were playing. But yeah, I grew up in a time when you were allowed to disagree with each other and still be friends. Exactly. And unfortunately, I don't think we live in that time anymore. We may be getting back to it slowly but surely. I don't know. Jury's still out on that one. We'll have to see.
So she expected Saturn to decline the agency offer just so Akemi could keep her as a friend. She even told Saturn, if you don't ban them from your server, I'm not your friend anymore.
Yeah, to which they rightly said, fuck you.
Manipulated much? And then Akemi took things to a whole new level. She doxed Saturn's husband and posted a private Snapchat video that Saturn had sent her in private. She chose to upload a video that was sent to her privately. A video of Saturn's husband, and because of that...
Look, if you send anything over DMs, there's always a risk that that information is going to get leaked. Because people can screenshot and people can edit shit. If it goes out on the internet, it can be leaked and it can be shared worldwide. The internet is forever. That being said, leaking something like that identifies you or identifies someone close to you, especially without the permission of the person sharing it, is still wrong. This becomes even more sensitive and dangerous in this particular line of content creation known as VTubing. We all use anime avatars or some sort of 2D or 3D avatar because we like our privacy. And we don't want our real names out there making the rounds. We don't want our locations being shared. We're almost like, in a way, we're like superheroes trying to protect our secret identities. Because we know if that information were to get tied to us, it could be used for people, bad actors, to harass and come after us and our families and people close to us. Plus, avatars are more fun. Yes, indeed they are. I wish I looked as good as Lord Rexworth IRL. I can try to come close, but he really is just a dashingly handsome fellow. Neven here is a member of a religious and ethnic minority that is targeted and persecuted in some parts of the world to the point where she steps foot in the wrong country and she's going to have a target on her back. Her life will be in danger, especially considering the fact that she has served in the Israeli Defense Force. That makes her even more of a target, especially if certain Mohammedan peoples figure that out. So little wonder that she uses a lovely anime avatar to conceal her face and her identity and protect herself. But sharing this sort of information, especially a video in confidence, can put people's lives in danger. That's why there's such an obsession with OPSEC. That's why one of my Oshis, Leaflet, is just so antisocial and afraid to go out anywhere. I don't know all the details, but she's had her life threatened before, which is why she's become such a gun nut and why she and her mother practically built a compound for themselves in the state of Texas. That is publicly available knowledge. She has talked about it before. I'm not revealing anything there. Kirsha, same sort of thing she's had to deal with. Her location has been doxed to the point where she had to leave her apartment. I believe it is in Georgia. Again, she has talked about this before. I'm not revealing anything that's not already widely available. And she's had to live in the bunker, as she calls it, for a considerable amount of time, surrounded by strapping young lads that she calls the bunker bros, who have made sure that she is kept safe and that she has what she needs to live her life until such time it feels safe for her to return to her apartment. Can't blame her. Yeah, I can't imagine what some of these people go through. And it is indeed different for girls. It sucks when it happens to the lads, but we're all strong enough that we know how to defend ourselves. It's the women that you have to be concerned with, because physically they are weaker, and not all of them are like Leaflet and know how to handle a gun or a rifle. I suppose we could include Neven in that. That's part of her training in the IDF, I'm sure. I believe Kirsha is trained in how to use a firearm. I know my senpai Razorwind, ex-military, owns firearms, knows how to use them. I myself own firearms. I am also trained in how to use them. And I've made it clear, anybody who comes after me and my family, I live in exile in America, and I live in a place with a really strong respect for the Second Amendment. We'll just leave it there. It's canon, don't lie. There was those lines from Metal Gear Solid, that codec conversation between Metal and Snake, where she asks him, "Are you trying to sweep me off my feet?" And Snake just says, "Don't worry, you'll land back on them when you meet me. The reality is no match for the legend." And much as I sometimes hate to break with law and kayfabe, the reality is no match for the legend with me, unfortunately. I do try. I will say I clean up rather well in a suit, but what you see here is a very heavily and liberally idealized version of myself. Spoiler alert, I do not have blonde hair IRL. I actually have black with a lot of salt and pepper grey starting to show through now. Not exactly a silver fox, but getting. I'm trained, I own, I'm out of practice. Line up the dots on your sight, point in the direction of what it is you're aiming for, and pull the trigger. But no, seriously, you probably should get back to the range, Phalanx. And I should also speak for myself. I need to get back to the range and do some practice, because as you've alluded to, practice is important. 1911 has a laser. Ah, that's good. I would like a 1911, to be honest. I'm warming up to the 1911. I think I was always put off a bit by the grip safety, but I don't know. I think that's might be a little bit better than the safety I've got on my pistol that I own. Mine is a variant of both the PPK. Bit more ergonomic grip on that one, and chambered in 380, which for me has been a bit easier to handle, especially as far as recoil goes. But yeah, practice makes consistency, practice makes perfect, yes. Got a double stack commemorative deployment 9. A double stack. Very nice. Really do some damage with that, can't you? Right, let's press on with the video, yeah?
That it ended up in Kiwi Farms, and once that happened, Kiwi Farms turned around and doxed Akimi too. They posted her full name, her address, photos of her house, and even pictures of her father, along with personal information about things that happened to him. And now Akimi is doing the exact same thing.
I don't know why it is like this, but apparently all of this is secondhand knowledge. Kiwi Farms apparently has a hate boner for VTubers. So, if your name appears more than once in passing, that is probably not a good sign. Again, issue of bad hombres in that part of the internet, and they, like I said, they've got an absolute hate boner apparently for VTubers, which is why the VTards, I guess, got targeted and got doxxed. Their names showed up more than once in information that was getting passed around and shared on the farms, and then eventually someone just started connecting dots elsewhere on the internet. Again, don't know why they've got such a hate boner for us VTubers, but they do. So that it is.
To Nines. It's funny because you'd think that after you got doxxed and after it clearly messed you up, you wouldn't turn around and do it to someone who used to be a friend. But
you think so?
But I guess that's too much to expect. Honestly, I think you just want clout from people's suffering. You want attention, you want people talking about you, even if it's for something horrible. I mean, your own mod literally...
Those reasons, none of them probably any good, but reasons, yeah. Perhaps somebody on the farms got their fifis hurt by a VTuber that they simped for long ago. I'm told that that's sort of the guiding light behind the hate boner that they've got for VTubers. The whole thing about don't simp for e-girls. I mean, if you can't really control yourself in your spending habits, probably a good idea, yeah, but at the same time, it sounds like It legitimately sounds like incel behavior. But yeah.
Released a full Google Doc about how you're a bad person. How do you even get to that point? How does someone who was your mod,
Google
someone who
Docky.
supported you, end up writing 17 pages, yes, full 17 pages, explaining why you're a terrible person and why
17
people should...
Well, I mean, 17 pages, I suppose it's definitely not as bad as the 1,000 pages we saw come out of Cinder. So this could always have been a lot worse.
Stay away from you. Narcissist, manipulative, and mad because someone in your own community was getting more attention than you and your own server. You just couldn't handle it.
Yeah, 17 pages. I mean, this is... Okay, TLDR, user by the name of Minnie posted herself a lot in Akemi Kurai's Discord media channels. Akemi expressed jealousy and insecurity over the attention that Minnie would garner, to the point of acting toxic toward her, and would not take any feedback on such from me, her community manager, prompting me to leave her community due to the toxicity. Seems larger than a college paper. Yes, this is more on the level of doctoral dissertation, perhaps?
It, huh? Imagine being a streamer and crying because someone in your community is getting complimented, like, seriously?
Don't appreciate how much attention Minnie receives on my server. It's a server about me. Seems like she's always the center of attention or liked more than I am, and it really bothers me. Sucks, bro. Get good. I mean, if you are legit being overshadowed in your own server, which I find that difficult to believe, first thing you need to do is get fucking good. I don't think I've written 17 pages for the school paper. I've come close. Of course, I've got a master's degree, so the writing assignments tend to be a bit longer and more intense, sort of. But yeah, higher up you get, graduate and doctoral levels, the longer the page count. 17 pages sounds about right for someone working on a PhD.
Your viewer gets a little attention and suddenly it's a crisis. If you can't handle your own community showing love to anyone but you, that's not insecurity. That's envy, entitlement, and main character syndrome all rolled into one. Most streamers are happy when their community is kind to each other. You treat it like a personal attack. That says more about you than it does about Minnie. And if anyone wants to read that...
Yeah, someone with a much healthier view that doesn't have main character syndrome, if they see someone doing quote-unquote better than them, will just use it as inspiration to do better, to double their efforts. Whinging like this to someone in DMs, yeah, that's just pathetic.
A Google Doc, it's packed with information, way more I even touched here. I'll leave it in the description. And
main character syndrome. I don't even have an NPC syndrome. That is probably for the good.
Minnie wasn't the only time Akemi demanded total loyalty. Is not a perfect example of how she treats her own community when someone drowns her spotlight even slightly. She literally told her server, if you support Shiro, you will be kicked. You must choose. Imagine being so insecure that you force...
You must choose. So something changed between what we saw just now and the whole, I'm not going to make you choose when it came to Saturn and Nines.
People to pick sides like it's a custody battle. That's not protecting your community. That's manipulation, control, and pure insecurity discussed as boundaries.
It's also something you have absolutely no control over. I'm sure there's plenty of people in my own community that follow content creators or consume some sort of content that I would either have no interest in or even might take a dislike to. I don't make them choose because I've got no right to do that. I also have no control over that. Who you follow and what you watch is your business. I'm grateful that you're here. I'm really glad that you are here. I'm glad that of all the people you choose to consume the content of, that I'm one of them, but I also respect the fact that I'm not the only one. Because you've all got choices, just like I've got choices. And who I choose to watch during the day or listen to on a podcast or whatever, you are not going to like the same things that I do. And that's all right. Saying that you have to choose would just be so insecure of me or of anyone else who dared to do that. That's really all it is with Akemi, is just insecurities. Insecurities stemming from a really poor self-image. People wouldn't listen to me, so I left because toxic. You took the toxicity with you. Oh, look, an ultimatum. Choose against the one that's forcing the choice. Yeah, someone gives you an ultimatum like that, especially over something so petty. Most people are just going to walk away from whoever is issuing the ultimatum. There are good ultimatums in life, such as a spouse or a partner, and the other spouse or partner has like an addiction or something, and it's becoming something that's going to destroy their lives. And that is an instance where it's perfectly acceptable to issue an ultimatum. Say, look, I'm not going to shed a relationship between you and your addiction. It's either me or the addiction, but you can't have both. That right there is totally acceptable. And if they're serious about getting clean, they'll give up the addiction for the people they love, because obviously they're not doing it for themselves. It's also your business. Don't make it the business of others, especially by force. Yeah. It's like at the end of the day, what we're talking about here is people making content on the internet. And that's millions of people. That big of a talent pool. And with some people, we use the term talent advisedly. You have absolutely no right to demand exclusivity from anyone for any reason. You just don't.
And if you think the loyalty test ended there, they didn't. When the Vtuber did a small reunion stream, literally just friends hanging out, Akemi hate-watched it from the shadows and then started banning anyone from her server who appeared in the chat. Yes, she banned people for simply watching the stream.
Oh, Joe, there you are. Going to say thanks to Akemi and her server, but was banned for being there. I am so sorry that happened to you, Joe. But then again, as we've discovered, really toxic community she's built for herself, especially some of the people. Yeah, like you said, no big loss. Yeah, she did you a favor. She did you a favor in the end. I've seen people banned for worse by even worse people. Getting that ban was for the better, definitely. Yeah, when I heard what was going on, I think I'd been in Akemi's server back when they still had the VTards and just never left. But yeah, when I heard what was going on, I noped right out of there. I don't want my name even remotely associated with anything like that. So they did not need to ban me. I left of my own accord because I knew nothing good could happen hanging around there. Who has the time for pettiness like that? Apparently, Akemi could I. So petty, she was hate watching a stream, watching who commented, comparing names between chat and the roster in a Discord, and banning people like Joe the Second here, because she thinks she's such a bad bitch, and so important that she can demand that sort of exclusivity from people. I like the edgy jokes, but this personal attack stuff she always did was toxic as all hell. Yeah. People that do anything if they feel and know it's worth it to them. In the end, though, it wasn't. Because eventually, Akemi decided to go on some sort of hiatus and claim that she's seeking mental health treatment. I hope she's serious about that, because it sounds like she needs it. It sounds like she needs extensive time with a psychiatrist, or possibly even to be institutionalized, because that bitch is crazy. I mean, she's absolute
Imagine
nutter.
being so terrified of losing control that you punish your own community for enjoying content that isn't centered around you. That's not moderation. That's obsession, insecurity, and straight up cult leader behavior. Akemi has a habit of rewriting entire situations just to make herself look like the victim. Take this for example.
Wow, typical woman moment there. It was worth it at the time, but fuck around and find out, yeah? Akemi definitely found out.
She claimed that Straub came into her DMs acting holier than thou, and
I think this is referring to Darlene Straub, wife of Rev Says Desu. And, yes, this was when Akemi was trying to do the whole Christian VTuber rebranding arc. and gets called out by one of the Christian VTubers to end all Christian VTubers.
And that peace was never an option. But here's what actually happened. Strab sent her a
I know you don't know me. You can take what I'm going to say with a grain of salt. I understand what it's like to be angry and upset over the things people say about you, especially when certain people won't leave you alone or dig deeper and try to smear your image. That being said, this isn't the answer. Jesus calls us to love our enemies, saying such cruel things that do nothing for you in the long term, and it won't help the immediate situation either. And for every follower you get from these interactions, is it really worth it if some of these people want you to be so hateful in all your approaches? Again, I hope you don't take this the wrong way, but as a sister in Christ, I wanted to share this with you. Please remember that people are looking to you as an example of Him. Their interactions with you will help shape their perception on Christ and Christianity as a whole. I know it's hard, but sometimes you just want to quote retweet and call someone out with every name in the book. But I ask you to ask yourself, is this truly how Jesus wanted us to live our lives? God bless you. Yeah, if you have to resort to name calling, you've lost the argument. Unironically needs Jesus. Some non-performative spirituality would do her some good. Yes. She's got some demons that she's got to deal with. We all do to some extent. I don't say anything like that to try and throw stones if I live in a glass house. Yeah, I don't know. Someone once described themselves in a rather amusing way. Living in the American South like I have, you start to pick up on some things. And I remember one person saying one time that I'm a Christian, but I curse. I'm very much the same way. I don't portray myself as, I try not to portray myself as holier than thou, or as any better than anyone else. Definitely not your stereotypical Christian streamer. Believe in God, will say as many times as it needs to be said, Christ is Lord, and no one goes to the Father except through Jesus. And that some of the billboards I've seen whilst driving through parts of the United States, there's one in particular. Jesus is the answer to all your problems. That's accurate. No lies detected there. Most people would find that their lives would be better if they simply surrendered a lot of things, and surrendered all, in fact, to just give that stuff over to Jesus. But at the same time, I take a bit of a Templar mentality. I'm not going to roll over and get stepped on for Jesus, because the same Jesus that tells you to turn the other cheek also tells you, he that hath no sword, let him sell his garment and buy one. The same Jesus who said, let the little children come unto me, was also the same Jesus who flipped over tables and chased out money changers from the temple with a whip and called them a den of vipers and thieves. And I think too many people in our faith emphasize the former and forget the latter. Even what we saw fairly recently with a smaller streamer who was part of a creator program on, I forget what, one of those VTuber mobile apps, over a supposedly edgy joke that wasn't really all that edgy, a meme of some kind. Action Phalanx, you probably, you were both there. I think you remember that particular instance. We reacted to a video by Lady Lark about that. This one particular VTuber got kicked out of a creator program over that because pissed off the Rainbow Mafia or something like that. Been a long time, but yeah. Foxy Prince, welcome in. Hi Rex, it's been so long. Indeed it has. How have you been? I was one of the few people, tried as best I could be to be one of the louder voices out there to just say, bro did nothing wrong, and he had nothing to apologize for. Shouldn't have cucked on that. Everyone else shouldn't have cucked on it either. Should have stood stronger and presented a united front. Lot of bad takes, a lot of L takes on that. But no, decided to surrender to the Rainbow Mafia and had to deal with the consequences as a result. You know, right? That's good. That's good. No, and it was a problem that I noticed with a lot of the Christian streamers and Christian VTubers, especially the female ones, who very quick to try and reach consensus, even if it meant throwing a colleague in the space and a fellow traveler in the faith under the bus, as it were. I tried to keep pointing it out to everybody. No one would really listen, but it's one of those things where eventually they'll wake up and realize I was right all along. Our enemies circle the wagons. We need to be circling the wagons as well, especially around one of our own. We need to be looking out for someone in our tribe, and throwing them under the bus like that, not the way you go about doing things. And rightly, I pointed out, this is why we're losing. This is why we keep losing. As my mother says, you can be a Catholic and live by those values while still being willing to hold the institutions to account. Papal infallibility is a ridiculous doctrine. I imagine it's the same with other churches. Yeah, I've never subscribed to papal infallibility. I mean, just look at the last few popes that the Catholic Church has had. Definitely some L takes out of them, to the point where I wonder if the Vatican is compromised. Probably is, to a certain extent, especially now with that Pope rave. Pope rave, I don't know anything about that. How have you been? Doing all right. Doing all right. Good to be home, at least for one night. And hoping to be back soon on the weekends to do more streaming. Let me grab the info on it real quick. Thank you.
Kind message telling her to take the high road and focus on her community instead of drama. And Akimi, she agreed with everything. She thanked her.
You're right, Strob. It's very infuriating to see people countlessly trying to tear me down and smear my name. Letting my anger get the better of me. Don't want to be like these people who stoop down to their level. I needed to hear this to be reminded it is better to take the high road and ride as above. Should take some of my free time to spend my loved ones, feel the love and joy, instead of letting myself feel the anger that's caused by these people. Well, she certainly knew how to pet at the right lines, didn't she?
Said she needed to hear it. She said she wanted to rise above, and she ended the message with thank you. Now suddenly she's acting like Straub was lecturing her. That's not standing for yourself, that's rewriting history, because you can't stand the idea that
women love to do that, I've noticed. I especially noticed it with one of my exes. Rewrote history so much that she started writing complete and total fabrications. The video in the news area in the Discord. All right. Oh, there it is. Pope Leo XIV gives his apostolic blessing to the bedlam of noise. All right, let's have a look here.
Dear young people, with joy I greet you as you gather before the splendid cathedral of Kosice, which is a beating heart of faith and hope. Jesus calls you to be witnesses of communion.
Correction, most women do that. Yeah, most, not all. Too many. As a female-born gender-fluid person who often identifies as a woman, I can confidently say it's not all. Yeah, not all, but too many.
Builders of bridges and sowers of trust in a world often marked by division and suspicion. Do not be afraid, then, to show that you are Christians, to live the gospel with enthusiasm, and to share the joy that springs from encountering the Lord. In every situation of our life, we will experience that we are never alone. For as children, we are always loved, forgiven, and encouraged by God. With affection, I impart to you my apostolic blessing and entrust each of you to the protection of the Virgin Mary, Mother of the Church and Queen of Peace. And may the blessing of Almighty God, the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit come upon you and remain with you always. Amen.
Very dramatic music. Probably should put some sort of Okay, that's interesting. I don't know. I'm conflicted on that. On the one hand, even if all you have is synthesizers, yeah, probably a better idea to use it for a more high church approach. But on the other hand, there's always the argument that could be made that you have to meet people where they're at. And if it takes rave and house music to spread the gospel, whatever works. Not my cup of tea, but if it leads people to the faith, whatevs, man. I don't have to understand it. As long as they're going to church and as long as they are living an upright sort of life, again, whatever works. Fellow kids, I don't know, I guess it appeals to some people. I suppose it does. It's like that King of the Hill episode, yeah. I remember whenever they would have episodes that feature church. Very interesting. No offense, I don't think I'm in the mood to discuss religious terms and stuff, so I'll catch you next time. All right. Church has modernized many times through its history in order to stay culturally relevant. That's why it appropriated so many pagan traditions in Europe, for example. That's true. That's true enough. Taking the ways of the heathen and transforming them into something sacred. All right, let's get back to this here. We're almost done.
That someone else was the reasonable one. And now she even says she's a grifter who claims to be Christian. Really? This is the same girl who's...
Yeah, I'm fairly certain Straub is not a grifter. That this is... it's a genuine... I would almost dare to describe it as a heel turn in a lot of her content, because I remember some of the content that Straub would put out, and some of it got a bit spicy at times. Spicy in the terms of, like, sensual and seductive. Put it to you this way, chat. Straub had an ara that could it could send chills down your spine. In a good way, of course. She doesn't do that sort of thing anymore. She's gone from sexy ASMR streams to let's play family-friendly video games and read the Bible on stream. Which, I mean, hey, if that's what she feels called to do, God bless her. I mean, I know I've certainly made plenty of podcast episodes that are overtly Christian and focusing on a certain theme centered around passages in the Bible. In fact, starting out, that was something we did every Sunday. It was a format that I called Sanctus Ecclesia, and it was a fairly short stream, only about an hour to 90 minutes. And there were prayers, and there was a message. It was almost like a VTuber digital church service. I was about to say good or bad chills. Definitely the good chills. She's got quite the voice on her. Akemi could learn from the story of Jesus and the prostitute. Straub made that journey in a sense. In a sense. I don't think Straub was never really a lewd tuber. She kind of went up to the line sometimes, but never really went over the line. At least from what I saw. But yeah, Straub found Jesus, got married to Rev. Rev's coming around to the faith as well. A lot of good coming out of those two. Though there are sometimes I see things that Rev posts on Twitter in response to other people, and it's like, bro, I know she's your wife, but you need to chill. Seriously. But can't fault him for standing up for his woman.
Sent you a peaceful, supportive message, and you thanked her for it. But now the narrative doesn't benefit you. She magically becomes a grifter. Someone pretending to be Christian. This is what narcissists do. When kindness no longer serves their image, they rewrite reality and turn the kind person into the villain. And then we have that situation, the one who said porn should be illegal, and then proceeded to force people to watch 9's-old porn. So
yes,
basically, her Twitter...
That also just... You try to go through this rebranding as a Christian streamer, and you talk about how porn should be illegal, and then you stream someone's pornography in your server. Akemi is literally living up to that Freerin meme, where Freerin says, to them, words are just a means to deceive humans.
Her account got suspended twice, her Discord account got banned, they even limited her on second Discord twice after that, and now she has a Telegram group since she can't get banned there. What exactly are you doing there? Selling drugs? Sharing porn? Or just hiding because it's the only platform that won't ban you? Just asking, you know, based on your past behavior. And since Akimi loves bringing up Nine's past, let's actually look at the truth. I mean, she must be a terrible person, right? Because Akimi wanted revenge on her. So clearly, that's all the evidence we need, right? Yeah, no. Is what actually happened.
No.
The first time Nines got doxxed years ago, around the time her old porn launched.
Maybe she gives him a nice dinner whenever he does that hardcore defense shtick. What a man and his wife do behind closed doors is their business and no one else's. But I'm happy for them. They seem to be doing well together as a couple and also as VTubers and content creators. And I hope that they continue to be successful, that they continue to be happy, and I hope that in the near future they give birth to and raise lots of little Strobs and little Revs, and that they have a very happy life together. I think that's the best possible outcome that anyone could hope for them.
The second time was when Kiwi Farms doxed her. They posted their username from the porn site and her full address. And there's a third time when Akimi herself dug Nine's old videos and forced people in her voice chat to watch them. So basically, you say porn should be illegal, and yet here you are on your Discord, screen sharing videos from Nine's past, her porn, her trauma, her abusive history, forcing people to watch it. And if anyone tries to leave the VC, they got banned.
All lurkers will be purged from my Discord. You'll only be allowed to stay if you're an active chatter. We'll post stream announcements on Twitter, so you'll not need to be in the Discord for those. Yeah, this is... Raise a strawberry patch. A strawberry patch. Good one.
Because if you leave, it means you want to leave things, right? Yeah, because it's definitely not because people don't fucking want to watch porn together on Discord, right? Forget the fact that what you did is disgusting.
Wait, let's go back to that. Hang on.
Want to watch porn together on Discord, right?
Someone's saying... No, two people saying, fucking clean up. Delete after you post T. Remember to clean up. Yeah. If people are saying stuff like that, you know you've done something wrong. You know you've done something wrong. I mean, here's a brilliant idea. Maybe don't fucking post the tea to begin with. Because it's really not your tea to post. And if you never post it, you never really have to worry about cleaning up. There's an older way of describing that. 3 simple words. Mind your business. These people really need to give that a try. They would find that their lives would be so much easier, so much more stress-free, so much happier and peaceful. Now, don't be gossiping. Don't poop where you eat. Another bit of sound advice. But yes, a lot of this is... Well, this is more than idle gossip that they were engaging in. This was malicious. But don't engage in idle and malicious gossip. And you'll be fine.
Forget the fact that what you did is disgusting on its own. Sharing revenge porn, sharing someone's abusive past publicly to humiliate them, that alone shows massive mental issues. But forcing people to sit there and watch porn with you on Discord while you have a fucking boyfriend. Like, what is wrong with you? Oh, come on. You didn't dox anyone. You posted someone's photos in your server simply because you didn't like how they looked. That's not calling someone out. That's doxing out of spite. Leaking someone.
And Akemi really has no room to talk because without having seen photos or anything like that, or what little I have seen, and what some people have, no, I'm not going to go there.
An identity just because their appearance annoys you. And Cheryl wasn't any different. You posted her a picture. Just because you were annoyed she shared her birthday wish list That is doxing. It's basic level doxing, but
Yeah.
still doxing.
Yeah. Sharing stuff like this is doxing. And you can argue, as some people did, about, well, is this really a doxing technically? Yes, it is. This was videos and photographs that identify people that wanted to remain to a certain extent anonymous. So yeah, sharing revenge porn, yeah, that's doxing. Leaking photographs of other people when they did not want to do a face reveal, yeah, that's doxing. Maybe not in any sort of technical legal sense, but it's still doxing.
You didn't leak anything? Then why did you upload a private Snapchat video of Saturn's husband? The one that ended up on Kiwi Farm?
Yeah, this bloke did nothing to anyone. This is somebody that was not even involved in any of this. And now he's got his face plastered out there. They were completely innocent in all of this. And Akemi and her lot made it his problem.
Because of you. You didn't send followers. Strange how your fans just happened to mock someone's miscarriage and even sent insulting vegan commissions all conventionally right after you talked about her. Totally a coincidence, right? And now we're at the part you really don't want anyone talking about. Because this isn't drama anymore. This is dangerous, illegal, and outright disgusting. You pulled up Nine's old porn. The videos tied to her abuse and trauma, and forced people in your VC to watch them. Let's be clear. That's not misinformation. That's not assumptions. That's not venting. This is revenge porn. This is harassment. This is humiliation. And honestly, it's sadistic. Even if the videos were already online years ago, you were the one reattached them to our current Vtuber identity. That's not exposing the truth. That's redoxing, connecting a trauma to a person who rebuilt her life under a different name. So, a normal person doesn't do this. A mentally stable person doesn't do this. Someone with empathy definitely doesn't do this. You knew her history, you knew the abuse, still choose to weaponize her trauma for
All of them.
entertainment. At this point, it's not VTuber drama.
Girl be spitting facts here.
It's a sign you need to step away from the fucking internet and get actual professional help. Because when you humiliate victims, expose minors to 18+ content, dox people out of spite, and weaponize someone's trauma, people aren't lying about you. They're just finally seeing the truth. You didn't get exposed. You exposed yourself.
No lies detected. That's a good video from Neven. We give that a like and post that in all the chats there. That way you can go give it a watch. And definitely give Neven a follow too. Looks like she's doesn't have a whole lot of content yet, just, you know, small handful of videos. But it's good content. So it looks like she's getting her feet wet. Still a bit new to this. Can tell just as a broadcast veteran, a little more practice. It does seem like she was reading off of a script, and that is definitely an art form to doing that without sounding like you're obviously reading off of a script. But that's just things that'll come with practice and time. She's off to a great start. So I don't really have any notes. Anyways, good stuff from Neven. Give her a follow. Follow her across all platforms. Follow her on X. Follow her on Twitch, where she normally streams. Give her a follow here on YouTube. She really should consider streaming on Kick and Rumble while she's at it.